You know what they say, nostalgia isn't what it used to be. Every generation has its own urban legends, from the hook dangling from the car door at Makeout Point,
A dangerous lunatic has escaped,
to the gangly figure of Slender Man. Like a lot of community-based activities, the development and spread of urban legends has become a largely online activity in the form of creepypasta. Two of the most popular categories of creepypasta are lost episodes and video game creepypasta. Lost episode stories like Candle Cove and Suicide Mouse focus on unaired episodes of cartoons or children's shows, usually featuring creepy or violent imagery. Video game creepypasta like Been Drowned and Lavender Town Syndrome featured modified, haunted game cartridges. From a cultural angle, the interesting thing about all these creepypasta is that they focus on retro media objects. Nobody's writing creepypasta about Fortnite. It's always older media, objects from childhood that we're looking back on and turning sinister. But why? To understand what's happening, you have to understand the purpose of nostalgia. Humans desire continuity. When we go through periods of cultural upheaval, we use nostalgia to look back and try to find continuity between the past and present, which often involves rewriting, refocusing, or entirely omitting parts of the past. So for instance, when people of a certain age venerate 1950s America, it's because they're trying to recapture the good, stable times they felt in their youth by focusing on rock and roll and diners and Marilyn Monroe and James Dean. But they erase the unstable parts that made them uncomfortable, like the Cold War, McCarthyism, and the Civil Rights Movement. Nostalgia, as defined by theorist Svetlana Boym, is a desire to turn history into private or collective mythology. It allows people to develop a sense of community by rallying around a shared past, like when somebody says, "Only 90s kids will remember." They're knitting together individual childhood experiences into a larger collective. I remember this. I am a 90s kid. I belong to a community of 90s kids. In 2005, sociologist Janelle Wilson posited the idea of negative nostalgia, where instead of looking back and finding happy memories, we uncover misery, horror, confusion, and trauma. When Wilson was conducting her research, I don't think negative nostalgia existed as a broad phenomenon yet. But since then, there's been a huge uptick in media and legends that tell warped stories about our collective mediated past, like dark fan theories that warp mundane media. Have you heard that Ferris Bueller was like just a projection of Cameron's fractured psyche? Or consider Too Many Cooks, the surreal sitcom parody turned horror short. Or Petscop, an ongoing YouTube series about a creepy, unreleased game cartridge. We're living in a time of unprecedented access to media. Previous generations couldn't stream any obscure show from their youth. People remembered the parts of shows that made sense to them, logically and emotionally. So darker or more adult aspects are overlooked. But our relationship to media of the past changes as our values change. Movies that are considered classics of a previous era are often looked upon with horror as the prevailing cultural norms shift. Which all plays a part, but negative nostalgia is more than that. We're rewriting our past to be miserable and broken because it creates continuity with our present. It makes it seem like things were always bad and always will be. It's a profoundly hopeless stance. For the most part, the negative nostalgia that we've seen so far are fairly playful fandom-esque activities. So as long as you aren't basing your entire identity on clickbait articles and fan theories, you should have a well-rounded sense of the past and the future. But it does make me wonder what aspects of today will be co-opted by our future selves as part of nostalgic mythologizing. The halcyon days of Pokemon Go? That year everyone played Fortnite? What do you think we'll be cherry-picking in the future? Leave your response in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and hit like and go ahead and subscribe to Polygon. If you haven't watched the other videos in this series, they're all pretty much along these lines, talking about culture and horror media and what it all means to us now in these days, today.